Okay, so we're going to start with the little booklet. And so the first thing that you want to do is you want to cut your cardstock down. It needs to be 6.5 by 9.5. We're going to score this at 4.5 and at 5. And that's going to give us our little covers. You can just fold that along those score lines. You can put as many pages into this booklet as you like. I'm just going to do 2 for now. So we've got just our booklet cover is just plain cardstock, and then you have these 6 by 6 pieces that from your paper pad. And so what I did is I cut 2 inches off, so it ends up being 4 by 6, and that's going to go on my front. And I cut 2, so 1 for each, and my back cover of my little booklet, and we'll put those on in just a second. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our pages. And so for the pages, you need 2 pieces that are 6 by 8.5. And we're just going to go ahead and score that at 4 1/4, like that, just so that we get a nice fold down the center. Now this is perfectly sized for you to put your 4 by 6 pictures on. And if you do that, you will end up with really no margin at all. So it's just going to be solid photos inside this little book. If you want to see the cardstock around the outsides, then what you want to do is you just want to trim your photos down a little bit. So I've got one that I've already done. So I'm just going to go ahead and stack those up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to punch my hole for my binding, and it's probably easier to do your cover first and then to do your pages. So I'm just going to reach in. I have my Crop-A-Dile set all the way back, so I'm going to get a 1-inch reach, and I'm just going to center that. I'm going to punch a hole at the top and the bottom of that cover, and then what I'm going to do to punch the holes for my booklet is I'm just going to line those up in the little, kind of in the little window. I'm going to center them top to bottom first. Duh, I need to do that. And then I'm going to line those up so that I can actually see that score line in where the hole is punched. It kind of works like a little viewer there. Then I can just take my Crop-A-Dile, reach in for my 1-inch, and then I'm just going to punch those holes again. Okay, so we've got that done. And then I'm going to bind this closed with about 1 foot of ribbon. So I'm just going to go ahead and thread that ribbon through for my pages. And then I'm going to thread that through to the cover. Like I said, you could put in as many pages with this as you want until, you know, it gets too full to fit into your little box. You know, it just kind of depends on how many photos that you want to do. If you're doing this as a gift for somebody, you might just think, you know, you don't want to get it too much, but you can always untie this and add more photos. Absolutely. It's a great thing about a little project like this. So we're just going to go ahead and feed that ribbon through. And then, so then we've got it like this. I'm just going to kind of do it flat like this. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tie a double knot just to kind of secure that. And then we want to put our little tag. We're going to decorate the outside. We're going to tie the little tag on there too. So that's all there is to that little booklet. So then we've got our little 4 by 6 pieces that we're going to go ahead and put onto our front and back cover to decorate it. And like I said, I went through my basic gray, my little paper pads, and I just looked for 4 different collections, I guess, that kind of went with the seasons. And this one is Boxer. I used Boxer, I used Sultry, Cupcake, and I think the other one is Archaic. So that I've got something for winter, spring, summer, and fall. If you're doing this for kids or something like that, you might find something that kind of fits their personality or that they really like. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my little pieces of paper just on the covers like this. It's just to make this great little mini album. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a punch. If you don't have a punch, you can just go ahead, you could just hand cut these little tags, and I'm actually just going to cut them out of my white scraps like this. I'm just going to cut a little tag, and then I'm actually going to write the season on there, and I'm just going to tie that onto my binding. So I'm just going to go ahead and write winter, and in your directions, I'm actually going to give you some little pre-formatted titles for you to put on your tags. So that'll make it a little bit easier for you if you want to just cut those out. I'm just going to punch a little hole in that, and then I'm actually just going to tie that tag. Now I've already got a double knot. That's okay, because I really want my book to be secure. So I'm just going to tie this little tag right on top with just one, just a single knot. And that will just have that like that. Oh, you know what? I kind of did my tag upside down. So I should have started writing it from the outside in. So on the other ones, I'll need to remember that. I need to flip this over, and you want to start writing it that way because they're going to go into your little box this way. I guess it could go either way. So anyway, so this is our winter book. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to finish up our spring, summer, and fall, and then I'll be back to show you what they look like, and then we'll do our the case construction. Okay, so I'm back. I finished all 4 of my little mini books. So I've got my winter. I put my little 4x6 pieces on the cover. I've got it tied with a ribbon. I did change my tag around. I cut myself another tag, and I just hand lettered these. But like I said, I'll give you a little printout if you wanted to print them and then cut them out. And then inside, I did 2 strips of paper, so I end up with space to do 8 pictures in there. Or if you want to put some in your covers, you actually got space for 10. Like I said, you could add more pieces in there if you want. So there's my winter. Here's my spring. I just picked a fun bright green cardstock and some real cute paper for that, and a really pretty ribbon. The ribbon is really what's going to show on the binding for these. So there's my spring. For summer, I picked this fun ice cream paper, red cardstock, some really cute yellow gingham ribbon, and there's my pages for inside for that. And then for fall, I did a nice craft cardstock, and then these just really nice fall colors, a really pretty brown grosgrain ribbon. And I need to go through and trim the ends of my ribbon, but I've got my little booklets done. Now you've got all these little 2x6 strips that we cut off. Put those off to the side. We're going to decorate the outside of our case with these. So we're not going to use these just yet. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make that box. So what you need is you need a piece of cardstock that's 11.5 by 11.5. I picked a nice dark Java brown. I'm just going to lay, this is my pattern, and I'm just going to lay this over it so you can kind of see it because the brown is so dark it's hard to see where the score lines are going to be. We're going to score this at 2.5 and at 9, and then we're going to turn it and we're going to score it at 4.5 and at 7. So we're just going to do that right now. So we're going to first go 2.5 and at 9. Whoopsie. And remember, it's 11.5, so you want to make sure you're always butted up into that left-hand corner. Go ahead and turn your paper a quarter turn, and you're going to score it at 4.5. And then again at 7. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to clip this. You can go ahead and fold it along those score lines. The nice thing about scoring is you really don't even need a bone folder after that. You get such a nice crease after doing that. I was looking at the new Martha Stewart score tablet or whatever that's called. Boy, that is sure tempting with all of the, it's got so many more score lines. So I've got my piece like this. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to clip this here and here on each of those sides. You could do this with your trimmer if you're not comfortable doing it just with a pair of scissors, but scissors work just great for this. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold this into a bookshelf type box. Now, the kind of thing you would get a set of books in, kind of a case. And so we've got these pieces like this. Now you could do it, you know, with the little small tab inside and the big tabs on the outside. The problem is even once that's glued down, it tends to catch. So what I like to do is to glue that to one of the long flaps and then glue one of the long flaps on the inside. So then what I have inside is a smooth piece. So as I'm putting my booklets in and out, they don't catch. Now to do that, you might need to just trim down some of your flaps, just like 1/16 of an inch off of some of them so they don't stick out at all. Because when you score, sometimes you end up with kind of like a little bit of a lip on them. So you're just going to go ahead and do that. Now, if I was doing this for myself, at this point I would decorate the outside of my box. But since we're doing this for a video, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the whole box together, and then I'll show it to you when it's all decorated. It's much easier to decorate it when it's flat, but for the purposes of our video, it doesn't really work that well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to trim off a little bit of some of those flaps along the bottom, and then I'm going to glue this all closed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these strips. They're 2x6. I'm going to cut them to 1x6, and I'm going to decorate the front and the back of my box. One more quick step before I fold this closed. I want to punch a thumb pull from there. So what I'm going to do for that is I need to find my center mark, which it is 6.5 of my, so that would make my center mark 3 1/4. And this doesn't really work very well on the Square Pal because it doesn't have a 3 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my center mark. And then I'm going to take my 1.5 inch circle punch, and I'm just going to reach in, and I'm going to punch out a half circle. And I'm going to do the same thing on that other edge. We want to have that half circle punched out on both sides. It's definitely easier to do this step before you've got your box all closed up. So you're going to go ahead and mark that at 3 1/4. I'm sorry if I might be off camera a little bit. You can't really see that, but you can imagine what it looks like for me to be measuring that. So 3 1/4, we're just going to reach in, it's a little bit off, and we're going to go ahead and punch that out. Put that off to the side. So we've got, this is what our box looks like. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put adhesive on one of these long flaps. I'm sorry, we're going to start with the short flap. What did I tell you before? Yeah. We're going to put adhesive on the short flap. We're going to stick it down to the long flap, and then we're going to layer another long flap on top of that. And as always, my glue never wants to behave when I'm on camera. Let's see if we can find a bottle that's a little bit more full. Once again, I like liquid glue for this, but you could try this with your tape runner and see. The worst thing that would happen is your flaps might kind of pop open, and you could just fix that if you needed to. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to overlap that, kind of cinch that down. Then we're going to put glue all over this last flap. Oh, no, we want to put that on the, sorry, I mixed up. We want to put it on the back side of that last flap because that's going to go on our inside. So go all the way around the perimeter, like this. And then you're just going to slide that over, and you're just going to go ahead and stick that down, just like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to repeat that for the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut up these strips, and I'm going to decorate the outside of my box, and then I'll be back to show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Thanks. Okay, so our box is finished. I went ahead and put those 1x6 strips on the sides. I punched this out, and I just wanted to show you how you do that on the other side. What I did is I just covered it up, and then you can just reach in from the wrong side, and you can actually just real easily see exactly where you need to punch out. Now, one of the things I didn't do is I didn't ink any of my little strips, and it would actually look great with some ink on it. I also didn't decorate the top or the bottom or the spine, but you definitely could use, you have lots more paper scraps. I just went ahead and took some thickers and put them on the spine with the date. And hello, dear American Crafts, you need to start making thickers with more than one 1. Our new year is going to be 2011. There's only one 1 in this whole set. So I did this for 2010. So anyway, I've got my little case right now. So I can just go ahead and slip my little mini albums right into my case, like this, and they are an exact fit. That's why it's fun to pick 4 different colors of cardstock. Now, you might notice my tags are all kind of jumbled up. So what I can do is I can go through and I can slide it up so I can have my winter, spring, summer, fall. I can have them sort of cascade down the binding. But isn't that just the cutest little project? So you've got this great little way to organize your photos or little like mini albums for the new year. So you might want to do 2011, or if you're wanting to do a little year in review kind of project, this would be a great project. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it this week, and I will see you in the new year with another great project from Scrapyard Chicks. Thanks!